tell you, my friends, don't be terrified by those who can kill the body, but after that can do nothing more. I'll show you whom you should fear. Fear the one who, after you have been killed, has the authority to throw you into hell. Indeed, I tell you, that's the one you should fear. Aren't 5 sparrows sold for 2 small coins? Yet not one of them is overlooked by God. Even the hairs on your head are all counted. Don't be afraid, you're worth more than many sparrows. Howdy. Don't be afraid, you are worth more than many sparrows. I tell you, everyone who acknowledges me before humans, the human one will acknowledge before God's angels. And the one who rejects me before others will be rejected before God's angels. Anyone who speaks a word against the human one will be forgiven, but whoever insults the Holy Spirit won't be forgiven. When they bring you before the synagogues, rulers, and authorities, don't worry about how to defend yourselves or what you should say. The Holy Spirit will tell you at that very moment what you must say. Someone from the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus said to him, "Man, who appointed me as judge or referee between you and your brother?" Then Jesus said to them, "Watch out, guard yourself against all kinds of greed. After all, one's life isn't determined by one's possessions, even when someone is very wealthy." Then he told them a parable. A certain rich man's land produced a bountiful crop. He said to himself, "What will I do? I have no place to store my harvest." Then he thought, "Here's what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. That's where I'll store all my grain and goods. I'll say to myself, you have stored up plenty of goods, enough for several years. Take it easy, eat, drink, and enjoy yourself." But God said to him, "Fool, tonight you will die. Now who will get the things you have prepared for yourself?" This is the way it will be for those who hoard things for themselves but aren't rich toward God. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Therefore I say to you, don't worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. There's more to life than food, and more to the body than clothing. Consider the ravens. They neither reap nor harvest. They have no silo or barn, yet God feeds them. You're worth so much more than birds. Who among you, by worrying, can add a single moment to your life? If you can't do such a small thing, why worry about the rest? Notice how the lilies grow. They don't wear themselves out with work, and they don't spin cloth. But I say to you that even Solomon, in all his splendor, wasn't dressed like one of these. If God dresses grass in the field so beautifully, even though it's alive today and tomorrow it's thrown into the furnace, how much more will God do for you, you people of weak faith? Don't chase after what you'll eat or what you'll drink. Stop worrying. All the nations of the world long for these things, and your Father knows that you need them. Instead, desire His kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Don't be afraid, little flock, because your Father delights in giving you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to those in need. Make for yourselves wallets that don't wear out, a treasure in heaven that never runs out. No thief comes near there, and no moth destroys. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be too. Be dressed for service and keep your lamps lit. Be like people waiting for their master to come home from a wedding celebration, who can immediately open the door for him when he arrives and knocks on the door. Happy are those servants whom the master finds waiting up when he arrives, even if he comes. Happy are those servants whom the master finds waiting up when he arrives. I assure you that when he arrives, he'll dress himself to serve, seat them at the table as honored guests, and wait on them. Happy are those whom he finds alert, even if he comes at midnight or just before dawn. But know this, if the homeowner had known what time the thief was coming, he wouldn't have allowed his home to be broken into. You also must be alert, because the human one is coming at a time when you don't expect him. Peter said, "Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for everyone?" The Lord replied, "Who are the faithful and wise managers, whom the master will put in charge of his household servants to give them their food at the proper time? Happy are those servants whom the master finds fulfilling their responsibilities when he comes. I assure you that the master will put them in charge of all his possessions. But suppose that these servants should say to themselves, 'My master is taking his time about coming.' And suppose he began to beat the servants, both men and women, and to eat, drink, and get drunk. The master of those servants will come at a time when they don't expect him, on a day they didn't expect him, at a time they couldn't predict. The master will cut them into pieces and assign them a place with the unfaithful. That servant who knew his master's will, but did things deserving punishment, that master who knew his master's will, but did things deserving punishment, will be beaten severely. The one who didn't know the master's will, but did things deserving punishment, will be beaten only a little. Much will be demanded from everyone who has been entrusted with much, and from the one who has been given much, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, even more will be asked."